an ABC premiere presentation. William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy take off on the Starship Enterprise and encounter the unknown and the unexplainable.
Emergency alert. Secure all stations.
Systems overloading Hunter.
Captain, we've been seized by a tractor beam.
Get ready for the unexpected. The ultimate human adventure. Star Trek, the motion picture.
Hey, I'm Mark Altman, one of the co-hosts of Inglorious Treksperts, and I'm here with the brilliant and talented
DAREN DOCHTERMAN.
DAREN, as one of the producers of the Star Trek The Motion Picture Director's Edition, what did it feel like to just watch that clip from Star Trek The Motion Picture from ABC way back when?
What did it feel like? It felt like coming home. Because, we watched it on TV back then, and it was the special longer version that we learned that they put together specifically for that airing. And we realized so many scenes were cut out, and everyone thought that it was meant to be that way, but it wasn't.
And
so we fixed it.
Can we close that door, please? Thank you. And then, what's great is DAREN is going to be back on Sunday to talk about the road to the motion picture, from how In Thy Image became a $43 million epic holiday release in 1979. And joining him is going to be John Poville, who was the associate producer, Harold Livingston's assistant, who also played Commander Branch's #2 on Epsilon 9, Michelle Billy, and making his first Star Trek convention appearance ever, Billy Van Zandt, alien boy. He's the one who said, Captain Decker's been with this ship every minute of her refitting. And he's doing his first Star Trek convention, and apparently he has great stories. That's how he convinced us to book him. He said, I have great stories. We said, okay, that nobody's ever heard.
We'll see about that.
You'll be the judge of that. But so this panel, we're talking Star Trek Comes Home. For those of you who are older in the audience, this may bring back memories of what it was like to be watching television. You're home sick from school, and you were so happy because your favorite cast members were on TV talking to Mike Douglas or to Hugh Downs or something like that. So we got a bunch of vintage clips, and to help discuss it, we have some wonderful guests with us today. We have, once again, returning to the Trekspert stage, it's the authors of The Mirror War and many great IDW comics, Scott and David Tipton. Come on out, guys.
They got their own music coming up.
Straight from Caesar's Palace, it's the star of the wonderful show Absinthe, and she's also signing at the Treksperts booth and has a new book coming out. It's none other than HAZEL Honeysuckle. HAZEL. And the first thing I want to talk about is Star Trek was very much a big part of the home video revolution. For those of you who don't remember, as you talked about, the ABC cut was the version that was released on home video, on videotape originally.
Right. And it was the first time that Billy Van Zandt's scene was shown in the movie, because it isn't in the theatrical cut.
Yeah, so he can tell us all about that. But it really is Star Trek II that's significant in the annals of home video history, because of course at the time, home video was a rental business exclusively. You could rent movies at your local video store, but you couldn't really purchase them unless you could convince the video store owner to sort of sell you a retail copy for like $150.
Yeah.
But with Star Trek II, Paramount Pictures was trying a new concept, which was ahead of its time, giving people a chance to buy their favorite movies and create a video library. And they released Star Trek II for the very reasonable price at the time of $39.95, along with Officer and a Gentleman. And the success of Star Trek II marked the huge success of Star Trek as a video format until this day. Star Trek has been immensely successful on home video, most recently with your Director's Edition, which came out on 4K 2 years ago.
Right. It's really amazing, because at the various stages of popularity of home video and unpopularity of home video, Star Trek has been there every step of the way. And I know people like me have bought every iteration along the way, and we have duplicates of everything on our shelves. in various formats.
I mean, for instance, the wonderful restoration from about 10, 15 years ago of Next Generation would have never happened without home video, because basically it was a very expensive undertaking to remaster all the effects and go back to the original film and color time the negative, and they did these beautiful restorations on Next Generation, and that was all because of home video. Now, it ironically wasn't hugely successful on home video, that re-release of Next Generation, but it has become a perennial of streaming, and they wouldn't have that beautiful new master for streaming had they not done it for home video.
But I think it had more to do with the way they released it, because they tried to get as much as they could for each season, and tried to get as much money out of the consumer as possible for it, instead of just giving them a quality set of all the seasons for a reasonable price. And I think they would have sold tons more if they had released it that way.
Before we go to the clips, I just want to ask you guys, do you have a favorite Star Trek home video release? I'll start with you, David. Is there something that really, is a big part of your collection that you go back to, that you love?
When Paramount released that Wrath of Khan at $39.95, Scott and I bought that. And before that, most people didn't buy VHS cassettes because they were priced to be sold to the video store for rental. So if you actually wanted to buy one, it was like $70, $80. And when that came out at $39, Scott and I looked at it and went, hey, I think we can afford that.
I got 20 bucks. You've got 20 bucks.
And we probably had ratty old tapes that we recorded off TV of Wrath of Khan, but now would have a real one on tape and sort of collect them. That was something new and something different for us.
Yeah, and Star Trek was always kind of a pioneer in the home video market, going back to what was the one called?
RCA video disc.
The video disc. I mean,
that's great. In fact, the RCA Selectivision.
Yeah.
I wonder if we can take a look at that. We actually have a clip for Leonard Nimoy pimping out the RCA Selectivision video disc.
Yes, I can understand you. I'm Leonard Nimoy. Interesting. A record player that produces beautiful sound and pictures through my TV. What is it called? Ah, Magnavision. Gourmet video for people who know and love video. I see. The system consists of this Magnavision optical video disc player, a LaserVision video disc, and my TV. This single wire. By connecting this wire to the antenna input on the TV set, the player becomes operable. At first glance, this player, Magnavision, gives the appearance of a highly stylized record player. However, I notice the absence of a stylus or needle, an optical laser scanner, and Magnavision was the first consumer product in our galaxy to use it. Now that is an entirely new dimension in entertainment. Well, inside this small area, a low-power laser beam projects, moving from the inside out, the opposite movement of a record player. And LaserVision discs are played from the underside.
Wow, thank you, Leonard. I'd like to see Ethan Peck do that.
I'm not so sure.
show.
I'm not so sure that he can say it's the first player in the whole galaxy. I don't think we know that for a fact.
it's presumptuous, yes.
Yeah. Wow, that's fast. I'm wondering how much they paid that little flashing rock there.
He works for scale.
That would work for Gary Seven or something. I feel like
Poor Leonard. He must have been.
That rock had a very efficient language. Beep, beep. Oh, really?
You can never underestimate how big pet rocks were in the 70s. They were a big thing. So I'm not surprised that was a colorful talking rock.
It didn't have googly eyes, though.
It didn't have googly eyes. That's true. Do you have a favorite Star Trek on the home video?
We have some TNG DVDs. I don't know which edition they are, but no, the first media I got was when Netflix was still mailing you DVDs. That's what I started with. So. Did
you keep them and not send them back?
No, we sent them back.
Oh, okay.
We sent them back.
Making sure.
You were responsible. That's
Yeah.
good. You know, you could have put them out of business if you didn't send it. They're, you know, small company, boutique company. Darren, what about you? What's your obviously the director's edition is probably, I think, a place of honor, but what else?
Well, yeah, but look, I had the first DVD release of the TOS, the original series episodes that they put in those sort of orange and white boxes. And it's interesting. I had the whole collection of all the episodes, and I had them on a shelf. And I had a projector at home, and I had a bunch of other DVDs. And my apartment was broken into, and my projector was stolen, and all my DVDs were stolen except the Star Trek DVDs. They left them there because obviously they knew that I had a special place in my heart for them. So it was very odd. I think it was an inside job.
Well, you know it wasn't Mojo then. I got to say, I thought one of the really more remarkable Star Trek, and I think Star Trek has been largely very successful on home video. I mean, I've had it on VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, 4K, streaming, Laserdisc. I mean, a lot of Star Trek over the years.
HD DVD.
Yeah, I briefly on HD DVD until I realized they were going to lose the format war, and I sold all in time. But there was a couple years ago, there was a thing called the Roddenberry Vault, which had a bunch of deleted scenes from the original series and commentaries. And I thought that was terrific. I mean, I really, really enjoyed that. And of course, I'm very partial to the Blu-ray release of the original series because it has the original effects and the new effects. So you can go back and watch it with the original effects. And if you want to watch like Tomorrow is Yesterday with the new effects, you can do that. So I do love that. And of course, the achievement, the incomparable achievement of Star Trek the Motion Picture Director's Edition, which Darren was a part of the team, is just absolutely remarkable. And I particularly like the box set that has the theatrical version, the ABC cut, and the Director's Edition.
Yeah, the giant blue box.
Which is just, because I like to, you know, I'm a completist, I like to have everything. So I thought that was terrific. Let's see what else, let's open our little
Let's see what's out there.
Our Pandora's box of Trek eccentricities and see what else we have here to share with you from the ancient past. It's much like the Guardian of Forever. It shows us the past, but we have no control over it. So let's take a look.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Well, guess who gets to take over the ship? Yeah. Once again. And guess who loses his ears? Yeah.
Not old pointy ears.
Yes. Old Lenny.
Old Lenny.
Hates that word.
Does he?
Yeah. He wants to be called Leonard.
Leonard?
So we call him Lenny.
Anything to bug him. Huh? Have you grown up with Kirk?
I tell you, when I was playing the series, the only thing you could do in playing the series, because the work is so debilitatingly long and hard, you don't have time to plan or plot or say, I'll try this or I'll do this or think about it at night. All you've got to do is memorize the words and say it. So I found the safest thing to do was to play it pretty much close to myself. Well, in this film, as I've gotten older, this film reflects my aging process. The very things, by no accident, as you can well imagine, the very things that I'm going through at my age, with my children growing up and my viewing the remnants of my immortality. I see death ahead of me, and Captain Kirk has the same kinds of feelings. The anticipations of his mortality, and so what Captain Kirk was going through, strangely and not by accident, was what I was going through, or am going through, the processes, and so I was very close to it. Yes.
Is this the high point for you, career-wise, right now?
This is
has to
imagine an actor after all these years having a hit movie and a hit series in the same year.
That's unheard of, isn't it?
It's unheard of. Yeah, I don't know who would be fool enough to do that.
Well, there you have it, the mighty Bill Shatner talking about facing his own mortality 40-something years ago. We'll have to share that with him at his next birthday.
But the man was born to wear a members-only jacket, by the way. That was a sharp look.
He said, "I'm going to wear this in Star Trek 3 next." But yeah, that was that's just great. And you know, these kind of talk shows were a staple. They all were on the talk show circuit back in the 70s and 80s. You know, talking to a bunch of talk show hosts. Shatner was great. and always amusing. But he wasn't the only cast member who hit the road to support many of these movies. So let's take a look at another clip from The Wayback Machine.
Do you have to arrive here earlier than the rest of the crew to get into your makeup?
Somewhat, yeah. I'm here usually about 6:30 in the morning. We actually start shooting at 8. The crew arrives around 7:30. It takes me about an hour and a half to get into the rig. Yeah.
Okay, let's find out a little bit about yourself. How did Leonard Nimoy get into showbiz?
Well, I'm from Boston originally. I've been in Los Angeles working in films off and on for about 17 years. I started acting when I was a little boy, about 8 years old, in neighborhood settlement houses in Boston, and kind of grew up into it. I just kept doing it because I liked it, and then suddenly decided that I liked it enough to want to make a career of it. So I came to California in 1949 and started acting in films then.
And before this part, didn't you mainly play gangster roles?
I had done a lot, yeah. I pushed a lot of people around and got my comeuppance in the end of the show, you know, that kind of thing. But it was good training. I did a wide variety of characters. The last 5 or 6 years, I've been playing more or less sympathetic, interesting people that my mother would like to see me play, you know, doctors, lawyers, professional people. I played a film producer, a film actor-producer on an episode of The Lieutenant Show, which was produced by Gene Roddenberry, who then created Star Trek and had me in mind as a result of the Lieutenant thing for Mr. Spock.
Well, I think it's one of the fine series on the air, and I certainly hope it continues. How long does it take you to shoot one episode? It looks like a very expensive show.
It is. I understand one of the most expensive on the air. It takes approximately 6.5 or 7 shooting days, which means about a week and a half in calendar time to shoot a show.
You know, it's so interesting to hear him say that, because tomorrow, if you come to the Joe DaGusta panel, we have that clip from The Lieutenant. And how anyone had the vision to cast Leonard Nimoy as Spock from that is amazing, because it's such a frantic, kinetic, over-the-top performance.
Apparently, it was Magel's idea. Magel was the one that sort of, well, remember that guy, Nimoy, who was on the episode? Yeah. So, because she was a guest on that, too, that same episode.
Yep. That's right. She co-starred with Leonard in that episode of The Lieutenant. And we're going to talk about The Lieutenant because Joe DaGusta, before he cast Star Trek, cast The Lieutenant. And, you know, a couple years ago, we were lucky enough to have you guys join us to talk about Have Gun Will Travel, which was a huge influence on Star Trek. But we haven't really talked much about The Lieutenant, and we are going to talk a little bit about that with Joe DaGusta tomorrow. Joe is one of our last living links to the original series. Remarkable guy with incredible stories, not only about Star Trek, but Lost in Space as well. And I'm really looking forward to Darren and I talking to him tomorrow.
We're going to grill him.
What are you, Hazel? You unlike us, you don't remember this. You weren't born yet. What is your, when you see all this stuff? What do you think about it?
I mean, you know, I don't have the same relationship to these things, but it's
I would hope not.
And it's really cool to see. You get a little more picture of what was on TV at the time.
Leonard smiled.
Yeah,
It's always good. It's always good when you see Leonard smiling. Let's take a look at another clip, because we might even get to your era of Star Trek.
Ooh.
Maybe.
I'm pleased with the success, of course. This movie, which, darn it, we're calling The Wrath of Khan, The Wrath of Khan.
Yeah.
And maybe let's hope that it isn't The Wrath of Khan when it plays.
Oh, no. And that's
it,
Ricardo Montalban.
Right.
He plays Khan.
He plays Khan. And can he ever? That's what he said.
Yeah. Yes, sure.
That's not as good as applause.
Oh, no. Applause when you came out, but they turn on you very fast. Puns, riddles and puns.
When they start coming up, then I leave.
Right.
And get my goat and go. I just got their goat, is what it was.
Oh.
But what is wondrous is, for me, is that this movie, The Wrath of Khan, is so good. There's a quality to it that harkens back to the best of Star Trek.
But it was an episode of Star Trek.
No, really what it is our desire, our attempt to show the roots that all things stemmed, that people have a past history as well, and that our characters in their lives that have gone on before, that we've all seen in the different segments, applies also to the present of that time of the movie, if I make myself clear.
No, not at all.
All right. Let me say it. Let me put it this way.
I just got a headache in the middle of that. I thought this was an episode.
No, it is not an episode. It merely uses some of the characters and
'Cause
relationships.
Khan was on.
He was a character, and we had a relationship in a previous segment upon which this movie is built.
I love the contemporaneous interviews because, we've all seen the actors at the conventions who...
they have prepared statements and everything.
And they keep repeating these stories that change.
But this is before they came up with those stories. And obviously he was struggling a little bit to tell what the movie was about.
Well, he was struggling with the title of the movie, the Wrath of Cain.
The Wrath of Cain.
Yeah. So,
and again, loving the loose tie, 82. That was the
like
look.
our fashion consultant here.
So cool, man.
You're like, doing the fashion analysis. What do you think, Hazel, as somebody who's immensely fashionable and dressing in all these fabulous costumes?
I mean, I feel his pain trying to just come up with an answer unprepared.
Not that is
no, but it was
now.
a sweater he was wearing. It was very looked very comfortable.
Yeah, and he's going to have it at the auction later today. It's going to be auctioned off. No, it's not.
No, really.
Okay, so let's take a look at another clip.
This is a dumb question, but are TV ears different than your movie ears?
Right away with the ears.
That's right.
Yes.
Well,
it's
how
not
so?
a dumb question.
How
it's
so?
not dumb. Because when we were doing the TV series, we were aware that the show would be seen on a screen that big or whatever, and you can get away with work that isn't quite as precise or delicate as when you are doing a movie which will be larger than life rather than smaller than life. So on the television series, we'd have a pair of ears that might last 3 or 4. When I say ears, we're talking about the tips that went on in the ears. It might last for 3 or 4 days of shooting. Take the ears off carefully and glue them on again the next day and the next and so forth. But for the movie, we had to use a pair every day.
A new pair
every day. And I don't know what happened to all of them.
Where are those old tips?
Somebody's selling all that stuff.
Wow. Hey, Dee doesn't get to talk. Oh, man.
This is a dumb question.
This is a dumb question. There are no dumb questions.
I believe that was the first part of that clip
we
just
saw.
saw.
Well, in that case, Phil Donahue, that was a dumb question.
It went through a time loop.
Where are all of Leonard's tips?
So, anyway, should we take a look at another clip, Darren?
Let's take a look at another clip, maybe another tip.
I am Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the Enterprise.
Captain James Kirk.
I'm Commander Benjamin Sisko. I offer my services as science officer.
McCoy here.
Scott here, Doctor.
This is Commander Riker.
There's something you need to know.
Relax.
Good idea.
I don't think you'll be disappointed.
Welcome aboard.
Star Trek. Adventure doesn't get any bigger than this. Over 300 adventures on video cassette are waiting to be discovered right in your living room.
You know how we sometimes say people don't get Star Trek? Clearly,
it comes from that.
Yeah. Okay. Ride of the Valkyries? Wagner? Okay. I mean, for those of you who know Apocalypse Now, there's the famous scene, of the attack on the village where Robert Duvall turns on the music and puts on Ride of the Valkyries, which is a very kind of militant, operatic song, for Star Trek. Did you not get the assignment?
Spock. No one knew Star Trek better than the home video department.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning, Captain.
It's so interesting because our friend Rob, who's going to be here on Sunday for the Free Enterprise panel, he cut a lot of the videos for the Star Trek experience. that were in the Star Trek Experience Museum. And, you know, Rob is somebody who knows and loves and breathes Star Trek. And, you know, he just spent so much time poring all over the footage. He knew everything. And, you know, they would, like, laugh at him that he knew every scene. Like, somebody say, oh, if only we had a clip of this. And he'd go, oh, well, this scene from this episode, from the second season of the thing. And they'd be like, how do you know all this? But his videos were so good because he understood fundamentally what Star Trek was, and it wasn't just this arbitrary throwing clips together.
Yeah. Let's find all the things that explode. Let's put those together.
I mean, everyone talks about how great an experience was, and it was fantastic. But while you're waiting in line, that work he did on those montages, it got you so hyped up for it because the tone was right.
We did on the podcast an episode with about the Star Trek Experience. It was terrific, but it was mostly about the ride and the attraction.
Right.
Our guest was
Luke
Mayron. Right?
Mayron.
Yeah. And that was terrific. Also, last year here at the convention, we did a panel about the Star Trek Experience, but it was more from the experience of the people who worked on it. And then Lisa Klink was here to talk about the Borg film, the ride film. We should really talk about that museum, because that museum was pretty, for those of you who were there, it was pretty extraordinary. It was pretty cool. It was like a future history. But even then, I'm sure Rob could tell stories about, you know, they kept saying less TOS, which was really aggravating. Okay, that was really, you know, I didn't see that when we prepped this panel. That was pretty wild. Oh my God, Ride of the Valkyries.
Yeah.
Wagner, Max Wagner. Okay, let's take a look at the next clip.
Hey, do you guys have any Star Trek 5 tapes left?
Where is the Star Trek 5 video?
You got Star Trek 5, The Final Frontier?
Please. Any Star Trek 5s?
Ooh, thank you. Great.
Thanks.
Fabulous.
Yes. Oh, thank goodness.
Would you happen to have Star Trek 5? Yes, sir. Star Trek 5, The Final Frontier. So tell your dealer you want to see it.
Okay, first of all, if you're ever in a commercial and you're asked to do the Vulcan salute, keep the thumb out. Don't do this. That's not the Vulcan salute. This is the Vulcan salute. Remember, you'll be quizzed on it later.
Also, as someone who worked in a video store for
that never
4
happened.
summers, no one ever came in demanding Star Trek 5.
Oh, man.
Just saying.
Poor misunderstood movie.
I think that's a good joke, but obviously, you know, last year we honored Star Trek 5. We had Larry Luckenbill here. We had Caitlin Darr, the wonderful
Cynthia Gao.
Cynthia Gao. You know, we did and you know, at another convention we did a running commentary with Bill Shatner on the movie, which was fascinating, and all the problems that he had in dealing with Harve Bennett and the things that were working against him. So we're big champions of Star Trek 5, but I don't begrudge you the joke.
I would have loved to have seen what Shatner wanted to do with those rock men. If he would have had the effects, kind of things he wanted to do, I can't imagine what he was thinking. It would have been amazing.
You know, what was remarkable was, to us in our conversation with Bill, was that he didn't get to pick his keys, and that he wasn't really...
The heads of all his departments.
Yeah, the director of photography, costumes. He was basically given them all by Harve Bennett, and that he wasn't, you know, he wasn't as they weren't as solicitous of his opinion as they should have been. It was produced more like TV, where the producer had more of a say than the director. And, you know, to see how much it's painful to Bill after all these years, what he hoped to achieve and what he was unable to achieve, is really, you know, heartbreaking for us and obviously for him. Okay, that was Star Trek 5, and you're right. It's interesting that there are no clips in it.
No.
They just have a bunch of weird people coming up and asking for the movie.
Doing the salute wrong.
And having worked in a video store myself, I can say that those customers were much more normal than the people that came into the video store I worked at. Okay, let's take a look at another clip.
On June 1st, the crew of the Enterprise boldly goes where no man has gone before. In Star Trek III, The Search for Spock.
We are going to this planet. We will act for the preservation of our race. seize the secret of ultimate power. You will tell me the secret.
I have no knowledge.
And I hope pain is something you enjoy.
I swear there was something there, sir.
What did you see?
For an instant, a scout-class vessel.
Short-range scan, Mr. Chekhov. Put it on visual, Mr. Sulu. Stand by to transfer energy to weapons. Red alert, Mr. Scott. There you go.
Bring on board a bracer. She's arming torpedoes.
Fire, Mr. Scott.
Emergency power! To the thrusters! Fire!
Emergency power. Prepare to return fire.
I don't think so, sir.
What happened?
They've knocked out the automation center. I've got no control over anything.
Mr. Sulu.
Nothing, sir.
Why haven't they finished us? They outgunned me 10 to 1.
My lord, the enemy commander wishes a truce to confer.
Put them on screen. This is Admiral James T. Kirk of the Federation Starship Enterprise. So, the Genesis commander himself. Violation of treaty between the Federation and the Klingon Empire. Your presence here is an act of war. You have 2 minutes to surrender your crew and your vessel, or we will destroy you. He's hiding something. May have dealt him a more serious blow than I thought. I swear to you, we're not finished yet. Take every last man, form a boarding party armed heavily. Outnumber us, man. We are Klingons!
You fool, look around you! The planet's destroying itself!
Yes, exhilarating, isn't it?
If we don't help each other, we'll die here!
Perfect!
Star Trek III, The Search for Spock. A Harv Bennett production. Executive producer Gary Nardino. Directed by Leonard Nimoy.
Darren, can you explain what we just watched?
That is a clip from what I don't know if they have many more. It's called Show West. It's like a convention for exhibitors. And the studios would bring examples of the films that they're trying to sell to show to exhibitors to get them excited about carrying their movies. And obviously, this was very early in the post-production process because they didn't have any music recorded yet. They were using Wrath of Khan music, sped up a lot to increase the energy of the scenes. And obviously, there's some different takes in there than in the film. But it's fascinating. They're trying to boost up the pew, pew, pew factor again to get everybody excited about it. But that's very interesting.
What this makes me think of also is that Star Trek III is one of those movies that was on HBO and Showtime all the time. So box office aside, so many eyes were on this movie because it was on constant repeat on those pay TV channels. So it got so many more eyes on that, even more than the box office sometimes.
Yeah. Almost as much as Risky Business and Sheena, Queen of the Jungle,
Exactly.
or Beastmaster.
Or Beastmaster, right, yes.
And also, I think this was at Show West, and, this would have been, what, 84, 85?
84, I think.
But there's a lot of Christopher Lloyd in there because he was kind of big time on TV from Taxi. So, as much as they can get in there, kind of similar to where they had Montalban for Khan.
Right, because he was huge in Fantasy Island.
Big, recognizable name as your villain.
No, that was interesting, and I don't think we're going to show it today, but the Star Trek II Show West reel is in rotation for our interpanel. And what's interesting about that one is there's actually a bunch of footage that isn't in the movie, including the fact that Kirstie Alley Salvik is Vulcan
and Romulan.
I mean, is Vulcan and Romulan, and then there's another clip with David Marcus that is in the movie as well. So that's also very interesting. And I think it uses music from Star Trek: The Motion Picture, if I remember. Yeah. So
and Black Sunday.
Oh, and Black Sunday. Yes, that's right. Okay, let's take a look at our next clip. Oh, we've gone through all the clips. Oh, we don't have the Hugh Downs clip? Oh, okay. Well, we've gone through all the clips. Thank you, Steve. But such interesting such interesting assortment of stuff, and to see people selling this stuff at the time that it was made is just crazy. And how marketing has evolved. You know, now we look at the trailers, and obviously they're trailers for trailers.
Yeah. It's interesting because, look, at this time, as we were talking about earlier, home video was a huge money-making venture for the studios. It basically, they were using the movie's release as an advertisement for the later home video release because it made so much money on VHS and then DVD. And that has all sort of disappeared now with streaming. So they're trying to rely on streaming to boost up their income, but it's not as valuable anymore.
What's unfortunate is that's where you got a lot of these great making of and featurettes and stuff at the time. And it's also why we got the alternative cuts, because like Star Trek II, when they said to Nick Meyer, "Oh, we want to put out a director's cut," and he says, "I don't believe in director's cuts because everything I wanted to do is in the movie." So they put out. It wasn't the director's edition. It was director's something.
Yeah.
And he was like, if you want to add these scenes back, it's fine. But, it's not like Ridley Scott in Blade Runner. He wasn't unhappy with it. But on home video, so you have this alternate director's cut version of Star Trek II, which puts in some more of the Peter Preston stuff.
Right.
And a few other scenes.
Unfortunately, it's not the scene where Scotty took Peter Preston to sickbay first.
And the same thing happens with Star Trek VI, where a bunch of the trailer footage is kind of restored, and the mind meld is a little different, and there's a couple of changes as well. And that was all because of home video, and now, fortunately, because of streaming, and also on the 4K disc, you have the option of watching either version, which is great.
Yeah, but with the one thing that we have lost so much with the advent of streaming is home video and the profitability of home video, making studios willing to spend money on commentaries and on behind-the-scenes features and like that. I mean, the Nicholas Meyer commentary on Wrath of Khan, I think I learned more about storytelling from listening to that than I did, almost any course I took in college.
Because he makes up so many stories?
Perhaps. But it's such a great commentary, all about just the way he's approaching the project, the way he's approaching the plot. It's so valuable. And I think we've lost so much of that with streaming.
I do want to, because you mentioned that, there is a new interview with Nicholas Meyer that Otoy, the Roddenberry Archive, just released on Monday. And it has Nick talking about all this stuff, and it's actually really good because he goes more into depth about it, and it makes these old stories seem brand new. So look that up on Otoy's YouTube channel, and it's a brand new Nick Meyer interview.
Yeah, because we talk about the fact that so many of the actors and also directors and writers, have told these stories so many times that they evolve based on what gets the best response. And so a lot of times the stories being told aren't necessarily representative of what really happened at this point. So having this stuff from the era that it was made is really interesting. And all that bonus material on the DVDs and the Blu-rays are so important. I mean, I think one of my favorite special features was Billy Blackburn's home movies of, the Super 8 movies he took from the set, which of the original series, which is just remarkable to have, be a fly on the wall of them making the original series. And him and Vasquez Rocks shooting them on making Arena and a bunch of the other footage. It's just really, really great. Darren, is there like special features that you really love, bonus material?
I'm a fan of commentaries, so I really enjoy, honest, in-depth commentaries that they almost never do. To plug myself for a moment, I got to do commentary on the first Blu-ray release of Motion Picture and Star Trek V. I got to do it with the Okudas and the Garfield Reeves Stevenses. And we had a much longer commentary than what was actually released. They took out certain chunks from the commentary because it didn't go along with what legal wanted to release. And I don't know exactly why, but it's fascinating.
We had the same thing happen with, I think, me, Scott Mance, and I forget who else did the commentary on Sitting on the Edge of Forever for the Roddenberry Vault. I know, and it was the same thing, legal. It took a few things out that probably I mean, I think partially it's because Harlan's so litigious,
Right.
But
he's not litigious anymore.
Not anymore. No. Although I would be surprised to get sued by Harlan.
I still wouldn't do it. I'm not taking that chance.
And you would know because, of course, you worked with Harlan on that beautiful graphic novel adaptation of his original City on the Edge of Forever. Yeah. So, any bonus features besides the Nick Meyer commentary that you really love?
There's this funny commentary that Jonathan Frakes does in First Contract.
Move your microphone up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Jonathan Frakes does a commentary on it's
First Contact?
Yeah, it's First Contact, and that's an unusual commentary. I think it's humorous, and I think that's one that I kind of like. The ones I would have said first are the ones you guys already named off.
Yeah. One thing that looking at that at the Show West reel for Trek 3 reminds me, and this kind of goes back to how they deal with trailers now. I mean that was for Show West, but even when there was a trailer for Trek 3, it still didn't give away anything. You know, so much in these days on trailers, you get so much of the good stuff. And also there was no internet back then, so nothing could leak.
Well, remember when Star Trek 3 came out, the commercials on TV shows the Enterprise being destroyed.
That's true.
Well, it's funny.
Join us for the final voyage of the Starship Enterprise.
This is what's funny is that I don't remember that because that year, David and I were on a family, National Lampoon style cross-country drive.
Oh.
And so we didn't see TV for that week.
Wow.
And we saw Trek 3 in, was it Pennsylvania?
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania, because we were like, Dad, Star Trek 3 is out. And I remember being in the theater, having no idea that was coming to the Enterprise, and it just melted my brain.
Yeah.
The way it was supposed to.
I was more upset about that than Spock dying.
You know.
I can see that, Darren.
Man, that's harsh. That's
No,
just
I'm
harsh.
serious.
Because you knew Spock was coming back, but the Enterprise will never come back. Oh, wait.
Wait a minute.
You know, Darren, this is a little off topic, and then we're going to have to wrap up, but are you upset to see Space Dock behind you? I know you're a guy who doesn't like Space Dock.
I'm not an unreasonable person, Mark. I don't care about photos of fantasy ships. It's fine.
Okay.
It's happy memories for those who like Star Trek 3.
Why don't you like Space Dock?
Because it's stupid.
Oh, man. I love Space Dock.
I'm a big Space Dock fan.
You put them in dry dock, in open lattice, beautiful dry dock.
Space Dock is very dry.
He's so Star Trek the Motion Picture centric.
Yeah.
Everything has to be the
That's
dry
correct.
dock. Okay.
That's correct.
Anyway, enough.
They spent the money on that one.
Okay, well, look, thank you so much for joining us for this look back at some interesting Star Trek ephemera. And as Roddenberry might say, there's more to tell, so stay tuned, and we'll see you in a little bit.
Thanks, everybody.